Sai Ram. Swami would often say, if you cannot understand my silence, how will you understand my words? And this, when I say Swami says, is something that seems to be the common case with all avatars. Shirdi Baba spoke very enigmatically in riddles. So too Swami. Swami has spoken so many things in riddles, and this is possibly a very close connecting link between Shirdi Sai and Parthi Sai. For instance, there was this devotee to whom Shirdi Baba said that when your time of departure comes, I will send a Vahana for you. I will send you a vehicle. A vehicle is sent for all the great devotees of the Lord. It is said that a celestial Vahana or vehicle descended to take Saint Tukaram to the heavens. So this is what Shirdi Baba told this devotee. What actually happened was that this devotee met with his death while traveling in a train. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that this is the meaning? So too, there was this South Indian actor, famous film actor, who was suffering from multiple problems. And Swami, our Satya Sai, told this person, you don't worry, I will be giving you a new body. And this person probably thought that he would be rid of all his diseases and problems in a trice. What actually happened was that he breathed his last very soon. And possibly that is when Swami gave him a new body. It is very, very difficult to understand the words of the avatar. When Swami says, love is my form, truth is my breath, bliss is my food, there are 100 interpretations possible. My life is my message, expansion is my life. Or when Swami says, love my uncertainty, it's so difficult to understand what it precisely means, because it can mean a million things, and each of those things are beautiful in the message. There was a time when I was in the Sri Satya Sai Higher Secondary School, and I heard from my teacher there that Swami had said, a time will come when I will walk in a manner where my feet are not even touching the ground. And they said, this is going to happen after the 75th birthday of Swami. And they said, Swami will go across the skies and he will give darshan. Why? Because Swami had said that when he grants darshan, his feet will not touch the ground. So this is how we had understood it. But when I looked at it in the later years, now when I look back retrospectively, what happened? Swami sat on a wheelchair. His feet never touched the ground. Yes, his words came absolutely true, but not in the way we were imagining. Then in college, I remember one of the teachers telling us that Swami had said, a time will come when you will struggle to see even the speck of my robe. And the teacher said that is going to happen because millions and millions and millions of people from across the globe will crowd into Puttaparthi and Prashanthi Nilayam. Well, millions did not come, thousands came, and I kept thinking that a time will come when millions will really come and we will not be able to step into the mandir. But what actually happened was, Swami in his divine master plan made sure that there would be 5 or 6 people dressed in whites following him always when Swami was on the wheelchair. And these people would form almost like a semicircle around Swami. It used to be really very difficult to even catch a glimpse of his robe, because on one hand, Swami has only told these people that you need to walk behind me when I go for darshan. And when they walk, there are so many of them, it's like a wall. You have only about 60 to 70 degrees to have Swami's darshan. So yes, it came true. Swami's words that you will be struggling to have darshan of a speck of my robe came true, but in a manner that we did not imagine. So too, when Swami said 96 years, even now we don't understand what Swami meant, what Swami means. And then Swami has given indications of Premasai. Even now we continue wondering, what is this about Premasai? We just cannot understand the avatar's words. Whether it is Shirdi Baba or Satya Sai Baba, both have always spoken enigmatically, because that is the way the avatar speaks. Speaking of Shirdi Baba and Satya Sai Baba, I am just tempted to share a couple of experiences that show the unity between these two, these are very special experiences that was shared to me by an auntie. Her name is Serene Shroff. She was my mother's fellow Sevadal, if I can say. Her birth name is Sai Sudha. She settled in Goa. A close friend for my mother and a very loving auntie. And she shared some amazing experiences. I will share possibly two of them that highlight the unity between Satya Sai and Shirdi Sai. It's so beautiful and I just wish to share it. So this first incident happened in 1971. Sai Sudha had just given her university examinations and she had come along with her brother to Prasanthi Nilayam, where they were given a room, a small room. There was not much crowd there, and they were quickly settling in the room when they got to hear some commotion because Swami was coming out for darshan. The brother was eating a few biscuits. He quickly kept that packet of biscuits and he told his sister, "Come, let's go." So they both rushed out of the room and went a few meters away where the mandir was to have darshan. After darshan, when they returned, to their horror, they saw that their room was open and there were barks emanating from inside. Sai Sudha wondered what happened, and soon she saw a dog running out of the room, being chased by her brother with a stick. He was beating the dog and chasing it out of the room. She went to him and asked what happened. He said, "You were the last to come out of the room. Couldn't you lock it properly?" "No, but I had locked it properly." "Then how did the dog get in?" "Okay, some way it got in. Why are you getting so agitated about it? And why did you have to beat that poor dog?" "Beat that poor dog? I'm so angry and so upset." "You remember those sweets that we had brought to give Swami, to offer to Swami?" They had brought special sweets all the way from Bombay. "Yes." "The dog has eaten away every single piece of it. Not a single sweet is remaining there. What will you offer Swami?" Oh, no wonder her brother had got so upset. The next day when they went for darshan, Swami comes to Sai Sudha and tells her, "You have cleared and done very well in the examinations, but you didn't get sweets for Swami." She was dumbstruck because she did not know the results of her examinations. But what is secret to Swami? Swami already told her that she had done very well in the examinations, and weeks later she found out that that was the case. But at that point in time she had no idea. And so when she has no idea where sweets, but she had brought sweets, right? So she got up and told Swami, "Swami, that dog, kutta." In Hindi she said, "Kutta, mithai khaya." Means the dog ate the sweets. Swami then smiled at her and said, "Nahi, Swami mithai khaya." Meaning, Swami ate the sweets. And then Swami added, "Mithai khaya, pitai khaya." Pitai means beating. Swami said Swami ate the sweets. Swami also received the beatings. And that is when she realized, oh my God, it's all a matter of perspective, D-O-G is dog. Seen from the other way, it becomes G-O-D, God. A similar incident happened even in the Charitra of Shirdi Sai. In the Satcharitra, I think chapter 9, we read about Mrs. Tarkad. She feeds a few chapatis to a hungry dog. And when she goes to Shirdi next time, Shirdi Baba tells her that you satiated me. All my pancha pranas were so happy and satisfied. God bless you. Be like this always. Always feed the hungry. And the hungry is not just restricted to human beings, even to animals. This unity of God and dog. What an enigmatic way to convey, Shirdi Baba said, you fed my pancha pranas and I'm so happy. And Swami said, "Mithai khaya, pitai khaya." The way of communication is very enigmatic. And of course, this is such a beautiful incident that to any person who has a heart, it becomes so clear that Shirdi Sai and Parthi Sai are one and the same. They're the same. So similar in their styles. Though in their mannerisms and dressing style, their height, the physical characteristics, they are different. The experience is the same with both of them. The other incident as I said, relates to the grandmother of Sai Sudha. This granny was blessed to have Shirdi Sai's darshan in the late 1914 or 1915, last few years of Shirdi Sai. She had been to Shirdi and she enjoyed darshan. She considered Baba as her master, as her lord. And Shirdi Baba too blessed her. He gave her one coin with Lakshmi on it, goddess Lakshmi. And then he also told her, I will come again as an avatar. When I come again, you will again come to me and have my darshan. These were the words, this was the promise that Shirdi Baba gave to Sai Sudha's granny. A few years after that, the 28th of September 1918, the Vijayadashmi day, Shirdi Baba took Mahasamadhi. Well, Swami has revealed in his discourse on the 28th of September 1990 that the 28th of September is not just the Samadhi day of Shirdi Baba, it is also the birth date of Shirdi Baba. And in that same discourse, in detail, Swami narrates the birth and childhood of Shirdi Baba. It's amazing, it's fantastic. I will not go into that now. Coming back to this granny story, years passed and 1971, as I said, was one of the first times when Sai Sudha came to have his darshan. By then, this granny had become very, very old. She was almost 85 years old in 1973. Yeah, she was 85 in 1973. In 1973, why I say that year is because in that year she got to know that her granddaughter is going and seeing some Sai Baba in South India. Suddenly, she remembered, oh, Shirdi Baba had said that you will have my darshan again. But then, by this point in time, Granny had suffered a personal tragedy. She had lost the light of both of her eyes. She had become blind. She could not see anymore. And so she wondered, how on earth is she going to have Baba's darshan even if this is the same Sai Baba that Shirdi Baba had referred to? So she went and told anyway her granddaughter that, hey, when you go next time to see your Sai Baba, I am also coming along. I also want to come. Now, Sai Sudha auntie, Serene auntie, that's her name after marriage, Serene auntie. But I'm just saying Sai Sudha for easy reference. Sai Sudha wondered, how will I take this 85-year-old granny to Puttaparthi? It doesn't have many facilities. 1973, very, very basic facilities only were available at Prasanthi Nilayam in Puttaparthi. It will be so difficult for granny to stay there. So she kept telling some excuse or the other, never took her granny along. And then in 1978, the summer of 1978, Swami himself came to Dharmakshetra in Mumbai. And Granny once again told Sai Sudha, now at least take me to Sai Baba. So she agreed. She decided, yes, I will take Granny. And she decided to take her in a taxi and go very early because now Granny was 90 years old. She found a place on a chair which was little away from all the crowd and it was relatively less crowded. So she made her Granny sit there and she hoped that Swami would come near her Granny. But in the half an hour to 1 hour before Swami came out for darshan, the crowd swelled so much that every inch of space was jam-packed, including the space all around Granny. People had just crowded. Devotees were so jam-packed there. And Sudha wondered how on earth was Swami ever going to go near her Granny and bless her. But then, when Swami came for darshan, he seemed to make a beeline to Granny. He walks straight to Granny, makes a path, tells the devotees to make a path and goes. And Sai Sudha is beside her grandmother and she's so thrilled because Granny is shedding tears of joy. She's holding Swami's hand, looking at Swami. How is she looking at Sai Sudha is not able to understand because her Granny is blind. But at that point in time, even when Swami is standing before them, Granny turns to Sai Sudha, who is sitting on the floor, and says, do you see him? How beautiful he is, how lovely his curls are, how radiant his face is. And Sai Sudha is just nodding with a smile, wondering I am able to see Granny, but how on earth are you seeing this? Swami then asks the grandmother, do you still have that coin that I had given you with Lakshmi on it? And the granny pulls it out and says, yes Swami, here it is. Swami tells her to keep it. And then Swami says, you have had good Shraddha and Saburi. Oops! What I forgot to tell you was when Shirdi Baba gave this coin to her, Shirdi Baba had told her, always have Shraddha and Saburi. And here was Satya Sai Baba telling her, you have had good Shraddha and Saburi. Faith and perseverance. Both are needed. Faith is the intensity of devotion. Perseverance or Saburi is about keeping that patiently over the years. Both are needed. Intensity and consistency. One without the other. Intensity without consistency is like a flower pot, firecracker. It comes and goes off. Consistency without intensity is dead, useless. You feel spiritually stagnant. Both are needed. And Swami told the granny that you have both. Blessed her, patted her on her cheek, went on. That day, when they were returning back in the car, the granny broke down and she made some startling revelations to Sai Sudha. What did she say? She said that, you know, Sudha, for the last 5 years, I'm constantly having visions of this beautiful angelic person in an orange robe with black curly hair, a radiant face, a big nose, a mole on the cheek. It's so beautiful. I did not know that it is my Shirdi Baba. I did not know it is my Sai Baba. Today when he came for darshan, for a few moments, I saw him. Swami had given back her sight for a few moments. And she said, he gave me that sight so that I understand that it is the same Sai that I am having darshan every day. Once I got that conviction, I don't need my eyes anymore. Because Granny was back to blindness. When she was traveling back in the taxi, she was back to blindness. She said, I don't need my eyes. I see him in my inner eyes with my Jnana Chakshu every day of my life. And that is how the promise that Swami gave in Shirdi, Swami kept it up in Parthi. What enigmatic words, what magical words. We may not understand the import, we may not understand the meaning at that point in time, but we can rest assured that they are definitely true and they will definitely come true. Shirdi Sai and Parthi Sai are one and the same. There are a million other incidents and examples that show their unity. Well, these were two that I personally heard from the person who experienced them, and I thought it would be wonderful to share them with you. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.